Hey guys, I'm Randy.
And I'm Daniel.
We're two lifelong friends and musicians, but when we're not playing gigs, we like to talk games.
And today on the Gaming Gig podcast, we're talking about Skull and Bones. You know that I love me some pirate games.
I do.
So,
Well, you love one pirate game, which is Sea of Thieves.
I love the one true. I love the one true pirate game. And Skull and Bones is an upcoming pirate game.
That is
So why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Okay, so Skull and Bones is Skull and Bones.
Skull and Gones.
Not Skull and Gones. That's a different game.
They are going to be Gones in it, though.
There are lots of Gones. But Skull and Bones is a Ubisoft game coming up. This has been many years in the making, and it is an upcoming pirate game. I guess you can call it just a pirate game in general.
Yeah.
More specifically, it is a pirate ship combat game.
Yeah. So they kind of build it as like the ultimate pirate game experience. And I think it's been in development for like 9 years or something.
Basically, I think ever since
Black Flag. Yeah.
Basically this game has been worked on ever since then.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't get, I don't think formally like introduced until like 2018. I think I think E3 2018 is where I remember seeing the first like trailer for it or kind of a teaser for it. And that was 4 years ago.
That was.
But so it's been a long time in the making, for sure.
Yeah. And everybody, myself included, loved Black Flag. I mean, I thought that was a great pirate game.
Yeah, I have not played Black Flag, and I really, really want to. This actually, just thinking about Skull and Bones all week has really made me want to play Black Flag.
Yeah, it was good, man. I really loved Black Flag. It was, if it wasn't my favorite Assassin's Creed game at the time, it was number 2.
I just haven't really gotten into Assassin's Creed, so I need to. And I've played like the first one, and I've played the most recent one, Valhalla. But other than that, I have not played a single game. And
well, they haven't changed, so you've played them all.
But I do want to play Black Flag because it seems different in some ways. Because it, at least it has like ship combat, which is obviously not in either of the Assassin's Creed games I've played. So.
Yeah, I think there was a little ship combat in the one where it was like Revolutionary War era. I think that was the one after Black Flag, and I think they did have some naval combat in that one. But I may be completely wrong.
I don't know.
I didn't play that one.
I have no idea.
So I don't know.
And now that I think about it, Valhalla may have some minor ship combat.
It's definitely got
a lot of boats in it.
Yeah.
But anyways, so this kind of like came out of Black Flag. This was, based upon that. And I think because of that, it has caused a whole lot of opinions in the gamer world, some positive, some negative. And we'll kind of go into all of that. But first, after seeing everything about it, what are your thoughts about the game? Are you excited about it? Like, what's your just general thought?
I'm cautious about it.
Yeah.
I will try it. Okay. But from what I've seen, it doesn't look like it's going to give me what I'm really looking for. But I'm I'm trying to be open-minded because I'm such a Sea of Thieves fanatic that I don't want to just not like it because it's not Sea of Thieves. That's not fair.
Right.
But
because then you're just playing Sea of Thieves. If it was like very close to Sea of Thieves, it's just Sea of Thieves.
Right.
Yeah.
But Sea of Thieves has a lot of really great gameplay loops and elements that I feel like are obvious for pirate games, like being able to get off the boat and sword fight.
Right.
Like that's not going to be in Skull and Bones as far as we can tell.
Right.
So I just feel like they're missing the boat, jumping shark, if you will, on a couple of really obvious pirate things that would make people happy.
I agree. And I have some thoughts on that I want to save for a little bit later because I think that I want to get to that. But my general thoughts and opinions are very similar to yours. I'm cautiously optimistic about it. I personally think that it could be fun. I think that looking at, there's some things that I don't like about it. One of which, first of all, I need to say that I didn't have a connection to Black Flag. When I saw the reveal back in 2018, I thought, okay, cool. It didn't really excite me too much, but I hadn't played Sea of Thieves at that point, and I hadn't gotten really into a pirate game. Yeah. So having played Sea of Thieves, I'm more excited about playing a different pirate game just to see what it's like. But I am optimistic for what it could be but I am afraid that what it's going to be is not going to be what a whole lot of gamers are looking for.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it couldn't be good, though.
Yeah, no, I mean, it could have some really satisfying ship combat.
Right.
I'm afraid that's just all it's going to have.
Yeah, and I definitely have I have some things that I'm a little worried about. One of which is the microtransactions that I think are going to be there.
Oh, I think they're going to be there too, man.
Because I think that a game like this, especially like a big, online. It's not that it has to be online. I think you do have to be online, but you don't have to play with other people because you can be just on a pure PvE server.
Really?
Yeah, you can choose PvE or PvP.
Okay.
You can pick which one you want to do. Like some servers have PvP allowed and some don't. So,
okay.
Yeah. And you can go back and forth at any time and your progress carries on between each. But because it does have that like big PvP, online thing, those games are often the most like predatory in terms of their, microtransactions. Ubisoft isn't the best they don't have the best track record.
No.
They've been known to throw some of those in. But
they're not exactly EA.
They're not EA, but they're not the best either, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like lots of their games have those. Like I think Assassin's Creed Valhalla had some of that stuff, but I never felt like I needed to do it.
It would like throw it at you. I mean,
it would throw it at you, and it would make it seem like you needed to do it, but really you didn't. Like, and I'm more okay with a game that makes it seem like you need to, but that you really don't, than games where you actually have to say like what's the big game that would just
Diablo Immortal?
Diablo Immortal, yeah, where you actually do have.
That was straight up pay to win.
Yeah, it's. So, but still, I'm not a big fan of those really predatory microtransactions. I'm afraid that Skull and Bones is going to have some of that. But we'll just have to wait and see, for sure. Because it has a bunch of cosmetics and upgrades and stuff. And I could see that being an easy way for them to be like, hey, instead of grinding to try to get whatever you need to pay for it, just buy it,
Yeah. It looks like it's going to have tons of customization options.
And different ones based on what type of ship you're using.
Yeah, and it seems like there's going to be a lot of different sizes and types of ships too. So
right, like mini types. Like I think in the original there was
they're going to be normal sized. I think.
no, I mean like many different sizes of ships, but there's different types of ships, and each type of ship has its different upgrades. They don't like go across the ships.
Yeah, and they have different stats and all that. They probably change based on the upgrades. I don't know.
Yeah, so I could see it being. It just seems like the field could have landmines in it, and it just seems set up for that.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Yeah. Okay, so we've played so much Sea of Thieves.
So much.
And
I finally crossed the 500 hours.
Did you?
Yeah.
But the graphics in this Skull and Bones thing, it's very different than Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, it seems like, well, for one, it reminds me of Assassin's Creed.
Well, yeah.
But it's going for more of a realistic approach, a little more realism in the graphics, where Sea of Thieves is obviously extremely stylized.
Yeah, more cartoony for sure, yeah. But I mean, like I thought that the graphics in this Skull and Bones and what we saw at times looked good and at times looked bad. I mean, it was.
Me too.
It was a little too cluttered at times, and
yeah, it was.
There wasn't always like the best rendering of all the different models and stuff. It didn't all like always mesh the way I wanted it to.
Yeah.
Except in the cinematic trailer, everything looked amazing. Yeah. But that was a cinematic trailer.
Well, of course
that looked good. Yeah.
I mean, I liked it, when you would get these like zoomed out shots of the setting and a ship just as a whole, I thought it looked really good. But when you like got into the details, I wasn't very impressed.
My thought was just it's cluttered, like it was just too much going on, like and like there were like smoke effects and like all the things, and it was like everything wasn't looking great together.
Yeah, when you shoot another ship, it like causes an explosion, like it. I don't know if that's what you were talking about, but that weirded me out.
Well, no, I'm just saying like, there is that, but I'm saying like all the different like visual effects weren't exactly melding, and that might get better as we get closer to release. But we're not that far off. I mean, it's coming out November 8th. Is it the same day as God of War?
God, for its sake,
close. It's in like the same week of God of War.
Well, I don't even know. Well, let's just cut the camera. Ain't no point in talking about this game anymore.
I think it's the same week of God of War Ragnarok.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, I know which game's going to get my attention.
Maybe even the same day, but it's definitely they're very similar in terms of when they're going to happen. You should look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but the ships in general looked really good. I think. You know,
I thought they did too.
Yeah, I mean, like they definitely had some good looking stuff. I mean, some of the like armor on the ships was weird to me. I was like, is that a normal thing for ships to have this weird armor? Was that like something that happened, or
it's coming out one day before God of War.
One day, okay.
Yeah, it's coming out on November the 8th. God of War's coming out on November the 9th.
Okay, there you go.
So I don't know what to say, Ubisoft.
Yeah, it's bad timing.
You're done.
Yeah, bad timing.
Go home, Ubisoft. You're drunk.
Well, what can you do?
Anyway.
Any other things about graphics real quick?
I do want to highlight the most important part, I think, of a pirate game is, in my opinion, I've decided is the water, graphically. Because you spend so much time on the water.
Yeah.
You know, or in the water, you know, in Sea of Thieves case, like water's everywhere. And we have often talked about just how amazing the water is in Sea of Thieves. It looks so good. And, you know, there's currents and waves and it affects every ship on the server. Like it's great. You know, the wind, like it all interacts and works together so well. And I don't know how all that's going to work in Skull and Bones, but the water doesn't look near as good.
I mean, it's interesting to me that you brought up the water because I didn't notice anything good or bad about the water. It looked like water to me.
It looks like water. It's got that like ripply sheet look to it sometimes, you know, instead of looking like water.
Yeah.
And then there's also like some mist that I noticed like coming off the ship as it cuts through the water that just didn't look that great. Probably one of those things you were talking about that just didn't render very well.
Yeah.
I wasn't impressed.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, some of those things change between, and we're still a few months out, but largely it's going to be that way. Yeah. I mean, there's not going to be a whole lot changing between now and November, especially since, you know, they got to ship it before the date and it's got to, you know, yeah, it's not going to be much different.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see how that all pans out.
But compared to Sea of Thieves, the main difference is that like Sea of Thieves is a first person, you know, you're pirate game. You're playing as the pirate.
Yeah.
In this game, you generally, I mean, I think when you're at port, you do have like a third person view of your pirate.
Yeah,
but
you do.
When you're playing the main bulk of the game, which is, you know, the ship battles, you are playing as the ship. Essentially, you just like you just have a view of the ship and you command the ship and do it. It's not like you're a person on the ship. You're kind of like controlling the whole thing.
Yes, you're not a member of a crew. You are the ship.
Yeah, you are just like the god of the ship, controlling it, you know?
Yeah. You control the cannons, you control the steering. If there's sails to move, I guess you move them. You have a crew, but they're all like NPCs.
Yeah, I mean, you would control them.
Yeah.
Basically everybody's an NPC. Well, not really. I guess like it's weird because it's just a big unit that you control each little thing. It's almost like it's more of like a simulator than a traditional like maybe just like adventure game, you know. It's definitely more of a pirate sim.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that. And your NPC crew can like mutiny against you. I may be getting ahead here, but you got to like feed them and water them.
That is very sim.
Yeah.
That is like very, very sim. Well, that's cool. I mean, in a way, I think that's cool. I think that could be really neat. I don't think it's what people wanted, but I think that it could be cool.
Yeah, I agree. It could be cool. It's not what people wanted. My first thoughts were like, okay, when you play with your friends, what does that look like? Because I'm just so used to Sea of Thieves, where you crew a ship.
I think you both have your boats.
You do.
You just each have.
You're like a fleet at that point, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas and that's kind of neat because that's something Sea of Thieves doesn't do very well.
Not at all.
You have to like form an alliance with people you don't know, which is a neat dynamic in general. But we're not here to talk about that. Or you have to like server hop for like an hour and try to get, you know, two groups of friends on the same server to do what Skull and Bones is doing. I'm also struggling to not call this game Black Sails.
Because of the show?
Yeah, because I'm so into that show right now.
Well, if you call it Black Sails, we'll forgive you.
Yeah. And then I struggled to call Black Sails and not Black Flag because of Assassin's Creed. So it's just, I'm screwed up.
Yeah.
I should just call it all Sea of Thieves.
I'll say Skull and Bones is my least favorite part about it, that it's called Skull and Bones. I think that is an awful name.
It's a little generic.
It's just too generic.
Yeah.
It's so generic that I forget what the name of the game is called.
Yeah.
Even though it's like Skull and Bones, like totally, it's a great pirate fit, but it's so generic and so cliche that I can't even, it goes past the point of being like memorable.
Yeah. I keep almost calling it Flesh and Bone because of the Killers song.
Yeah. That's a great song too.
Yeah. So it's Yeah, I agree. Not a great name. Not a great
Not
name.
a great name. Not a great name.
Let's see. So we've talked about our NPC crew and how they'll mutiny against you. We've talked about how the game looks to be an entirely naval battle simulator.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the freaking rocket launchers.
Yeah, man. I mean, there are all kinds of weapons. It's not just rocket launchers. There are
Flamethrowers?
I mean, yeah, it's like there are so many different weapon types, and that's what scares me about these microtransactions. So I wonder if like they're gonna give you the option to pay for them outright,
Yeah.
or grind forever.
I'm going to log in on day one, and somebody's going to have dropped $100, and they're going to launch heat-seeking missiles at me.
Right? Yeah.
In the 17th century.
Right. That's another thing I worry about is the balance of if you're on a PvP server, like, is it going to put you with people who've been playing a similar amount of time who have the same stuff as you, or is it just going to throw you in with some people who are going to come and just destroy your time? You're not going to have any fun.
I don't know. I mean, that's something we've always said we love about Sea of Thieves, how everybody is even.
Right.
From a firepower perspective.
What worries me that it's going to be unbalanced is the fact that they give you the option to have no PvP and you can be on a completely PvE server.
Yeah.
Makes me think that it's not going to be very balanced. Or they're afraid it's not going to be.
It could be.
Because Sea of Thieves doesn't offer that. And a lot of people, it's because it's so balanced. They work so hard to balance Sea of Thieves. Where Skull and Bones, I'm afraid that it's not going to be at all. I'm afraid you're going to get on that PvP server and someone is going to have paid to win. And it's just going to make it not competitive.
They're just going to run the server.
Yep.
Going to run the Indian Ocean. Yeah, I mean, the only criticism people really give Sea of Thieves for being unbalanced is that it favors crew size. But that's really it.
Kind of. Yeah, it does favor crew size.
I mean, you're at a disadvantage, if you're a two-man crew and you roll up on a galleon with 4. Like, you are at some disadvantages.
There's some things that you have in your favor, but it maybe isn't completely 100% balanced.
And this may be a little off topic, but I've been meaning to bring this up to you. So I'm going to do it since we're talking about pirate games.
Yeah.
I think a way to balance that, and I heard this from Blurbs, and I may have said this to you a while back, is the galleon should have more places to board.
4 places, 2 on each side.
Because the galleon has 4 people to guard the same amount of ladders as the sloop.
Right.
I just think that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would be a really neat way to balance it. And then if you wonder about brigs, if you should, how could they figure out a way to put 3 ladders on a brig and it not be weird? Like have 2 on one side and 1 on the other?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Remember that there's 2 on the left side and 1 on the right.
Yeah, or maybe even behind or in front, somehow. I don't know. But,
like one on the front of the ship or something. That's like right near the front.
Yeah.
The way you could board on the very tip of the ship, which would be kind of weird.
That would be kind of weird.
But it'd be kind of cool.
I don't know. I've seen Boxy board by riding a high wave high enough to touch the harpoon.
Yeah, that's a pretty pro move, man.
Yeah.
I've never done it. I've thought about it.
Anyway, back on topic here.
So, I think the main thing that I've noticed about this game is that, like, I was initially pretty excited about it, and then I started reading comments, and man, people are so disappointed about this game.
Yeah,
I'm talking about Skull and Bones now.
Yeah,
people are so disappointed on this game, and I think the reason is, so here's where my kind of hot take opinion comes in.
Okay, give it to us.
I think that largely the disappointment has nothing to do with Ubisoft. I think it has all to do with gamers wanting something that the game never was going to be. That it was never pitched to be. It's not like they should be like, oh, you said it was going to be the ultimate pirate game. Because from what I understand, from the very beginning, it started out as after Black Flag, they said, we could make a whole game just based on the ship combat. And then they were going to go from there. It was just going to be a ship combat game to begin with. And then in 2018, they showed this ship combat game. Everyone's like, no. You can't do that. You want it to be a real pirate game. You can get off your ship and stuff like that. And then when they showed it again, and it was still just a ship combat game, they were upset. But it was always going to be a ship combat game.
Maybe so. I don't know. I don't have a lot to speak to on what they said like during the Black Flag era about it. But Black Flag had a lot more things going for it than just the naval combat.
Right, but then, yeah, I guess
so. I mean, but at the same time, if they were then like, oh, we can make this a whole game, well, they did just make that whole game. They made Black Flag. So, but
no, I'm saying just the ship combat portion.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like if they if they brought in all the elements of Black Flag, they would just be remaking Black Flag.
Right.
Is what I'm saying.
It'd be
or
Black
reskinning
Flag 2,
it with a, without the Assassin's Creed part.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe you're right. But in Black Flag, you did board enemy ships and you did fight the crews, and it was fun.
Right.
It was super fun.
I think that the game, what people's vision and what Ubisoft's vision for this game were they were different things from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And people are disappointed that they're not getting the game that they wanted,
mm-hmm.
when obviously Ubisoft had this vision for this ship combat game and they were going to make it, and people are just mad because they don't want a ship combat game. They want a pirate game, like just a generic pirate game.
Yeah, and I think Ubisoft did at some point, maybe after one of those initial reveals, ask for feedback and suggestions from the community.
They did.
And then they came back, and showed more footage, and they didn't have hardly any of that, and they concentrated on like the new guns, the new cosmetics,
right.
This and that, and I think that really pissed people off too.
I get that. I really do, but I
think you're right. I think we're just not getting what we wanted. We're getting what Ubisoft wanted.
Right. And I think that just comes down to, it's like, if, you know what, let's read some comments that people have to say about Skull and Bones, because I think the comments say it all.
Okay.
Hit us with this first one here, Daniel.
All right. So 901 said, great work on the graphics, but the game designers need to walk the plank. The target audience for this game wants to play as a pirate, not as a boat. That's it. I mean...
And I completely agree. The target audience does want to play as a pirate, not as a boat.
Mm-hmm.
My argument is that Ubisoft wanted to make a
boat game.
A boat game, yeah.
Are we going to have pontoons in this thing? We're going to be able to, like, bring our Yeti coolers out into the Indian Ocean and chill in a lagoon with our redneck friends?
I hope.
Listen to Luke Bryan?
I highly doubt it, but I hope so.
What if Luke Bryan was around in the late 17th century? Blackbeard was like jamming out to, I can't even name one of his songs off the top of my head.
Me neither. I'm not going to try.
Kick the dust up.
So this next comment is from Sam Zilla, and it says, the game has been in development for 9 years, and this still looks like a bare bones tech demo. What the hell was Ubisoft doing all this time? I kind of disagree that the game looks like a tech demo. I do think that the game's UI is too cluttered.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with what they're trying to do, it's like one of those things like the more advanced a game gets, the more crazy the UI gets.
Yeah.
And there's at some point you got to be like...
You got to balance it.
You got to balance it, and maybe they didn't do the best job of balancing it, but I'm sure they've tried. Because I don't think any game developer's like, ooh, let's put more in the UI. Let's make more menus and make it more difficult to understand. No one wants that.
Yeah. That's something that's a big, big barrier for me with games sometimes. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily the playing UI of it, but the menu, like getting lost in menu after menu after menu. That is something I hate.
Yeah, it's especially bad in some games. I think of games that it's bad, but I still got through it. I think of like The Witcher 3.
The Witcher 3 is a game that did that to me.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, but I got through it. I worked through it, and I never loved it, but I got through it. Death Stranding's that way.
Death Stranding's doing that to me. Yeah. I mean, I still like Death Stranding, but I got to get back on it.
It's just... There are definitely games that, but then you play a game like we're playing Cana right now, and like the menus are so minimal. It's just so simple. It's very nice.
Very nice.
The skill tree is super small and easy to understand. I definitely feel you on that. And this game doesn't look like it's going to have a very elegant UI.
No,
it's going to be pretty complex. Now, whether or not that ends up being okay or not comes down to if the game's worth playing, if it's worth fighting through. Because like I said, Witcher 3, it totally was. I don't know. It's tough.
All right, so Sloppy Fart. That's this person's name, by the way. I didn't just randomly say Sloppy Fart. And it's also spelled P-H-A-R-T, Sloppy Pahart. Said, why can't we just have a fantastic pirate game? An incredible mixture between The Witcher 3 and Assassin's Creed Black Flag, with maybe a bit of Red Dead 2 in there. But all themed around being a pirate. That's literally all I want in a game.
So this was like one of the top comments on, one of the trailers.
Oh, Sloppy Fart?
And this to me is the perfect example of the fact that gamers, like the gaming public here that's looking at this that are disappointed because they're not getting what they wanted, and they like projected upon this game what they wanted. This dude wants a combination between The Witcher 3, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and Red Dead Redemption 2 in a pirate game. That
is a tall order.
That is like, it's so pie in the sky.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not saying that
would be
Skull
amazing.
and Bones is going to be good. I'm just saying, like, I'm just going to see what it's like and decide later. But I haven't written it off already because it's not this huge, action adventure RPG that I just haven't,
Yeah, so it sounds like he's wanting, I mean, all those games he mentioned, except for maybe Red Dead Online, is like a single player experience. So it sounds like that's what he wants. He wants just a big single player adventure as a pirate.
Right. Like a Red Dead for pirates instead of being in the Western. I get that would be cool.
That would be cool.
But this game was never pitched to be that.
No, and also, Sea of Thieves has conditioned me so much to where it's really hard for me to think of a pirate game not being online. Mm-hmm. It's weird to think about, but
he said Red Dead 2, not Red Dead Online. So he wants all single player. Like,
yeah. So I mean that would be super cool.
It would be cool.
Go back and play Black Flag again. I don't know.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that this is an instance where the gaming collective has just decided they want a game, and then they thought maybe this would be it, and it's not, and now they got their panties in a wad.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is one of the problems I have with the gaming scene is that people, like, when people project upon a game way before they know anything about it, and they want it to be a certain way, and when it's not, they're super upset.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know, sloppy fart. I mean, go back and play Black Flag, and then maybe give Sea of Thieves a try, because it's really good.
Yeah, definitely. So we asked our, the gaming gig gamer collective that's in our little community. We asked
the Gaming Gig Gamer Collective.
Yeah.
The GNGGC.
We asked, will Skull and Bones be a success?
And 17% of people said yes, while 52% said no. And 31% said maybe. So not a lot of people really banking on this thing to be a world beater.
Yeah, I think that if I had to say, is it going to be successful? I would probably lean towards that maybe.
Me too.
But the fact,
it's not going to have a banger of a first week, I'll tell you that.
No.
Not with Ragnarok dropping on its heels.
No. The good thing about this is that it's multi-platform. So it will have that helping it. Because, Xbox players, PC players, they're not going to have Ragnarok to play.
Right.
So it will have that going for it.
That's true. Yeah, it's going to get part of the market that Ragnarok can't get. That's true.
Right. So, and it's coming to last-gen consoles as well as next-gen. So it's going to be...
So is Ragnarok, but it's just PS4.
But just PlayStation, yeah.
Yeah.
So Skull and Bones will have a bigger audience to work with.
Mm-hmm. True that.
So.
True that. Well, hit us with Celeria Rose's comment.
Celeria Rose, thank you again for commenting, as always. Said, probably going to be successful. Mm-hmm. As much as people gripe about them Ubisoft games consistently... Wait. Oh, I see here. I read this wrong. As much as people gripe about them, Ubisoft games consistently perform well. That missing comma threw me.
Much people gripe about them Ubisoft games.
Well, I was reading it like it would need to be.
Yeah.
And in that it's a pirate game, which there aren't a lot of, and Ubisoft are responsible for Black Flag, which is one of the best pirate games in recent memory, and I think it has a decent chance of doing at least decently.
That was... From a, diction point of view, that was a hard one to read.
Yes, it was. It was hard. I think that it was mostly my fault. Sometimes I just, struggle. But...
It's okay.
So, yeah, I think that the fact that it's Ubisoft does mean that it's probably going to do better than everyone expects it to.
Yeah.
Because...
People play their games.
Because the people complaining... are not necessarily the same people who play all the Ubisoft games. I think it's a very different audience.
Definitely. Yeah, those people aren't the ones that are going out and buying the new Far Cry and the new Assassin's Creed every time.
Yeah, right. And so I think that probably is the number one reason that makes me lean towards maybe. Plus, I think that I personally really like simulation games, and I like in-depth simulation games. And I think that it being a simulation game actually, to me, might even be more fun than if it was just a big pirate adventure game. Because I've played so many open world adventure games that I'm kind of burnt out on them.
Me too.
And I might enjoy just a ship combat game.
Yeah, I mean, maybe so.
Yeah.
I mean, if it can be like bite-sizable, but I just don't get the impression that this thing is very bite-sizable, but maybe it is.
Well, we don't really know yet.
We don't know.
It seems like it's going to have a campaign independent of, like, it's not just about PvP. It's like a campaign and there's PvP mixed in.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. And that's something that Sea of Thieves doesn't do very well. In that it does have, like, things you can do, but it's like there's no really overarching campaign. It's more about just, like, do enough stuff until you hit, certain landmarks.
I think about a month ago, I would have completely agreed with that. I think I've realized that we've ignored a large part of Sea of Thieves, which is the tall tales.
Yeah, but there's only so many.
Yeah.
And there's not that many.
There's like 15 or something, and then there's also the Pirates Life stuff, and then the adventures. But there is like more overarching lore than I realized. Well, that's what I'm saying.
There definitely is, but you have to look for it.
You do.
But the thing about, like, the adventures is that, one, they're like one-offs, and then they only take like an hour or two, and then you're done until they create a new one.
Yeah, it's like episodic.
Yeah. So it's not like I still think they don't do a very good job of having like this overarching like reason to play the game outside of the funness of the PvP.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Because I think if the game was PvE only, no way I would like the game.
Oh yeah, no, I get bored with the PvE. I mean, like I can do it, but I get bored.
Yeah, I would maybe have like
the whole time I'm doing PvE, I'm scanning the horizon, just hoping somebody's coming to ruin our day.
I really don't like the PvE aspect of Sea of Thieves, and I suspect that this is going to be so different that I don't think I can directly compare. Because so many other games, I mean, 99% of the other games I play, I don't play online games, so I play PvE, and it's fine. It's like that's just the game.
Yeah.
So it really, I think it's just going to be so different from Sea of Thieves. Even though my initial reaction is to compare them, I don't think, besides them having ship combat, which they both do.
Yeah.
But besides that, I don't think they have a whole lot in common.
No, I don't think they're not gonna be like direct competitors. I really don't think so.
And I mean, Sea of Thieves is by Rare, and Rare doesn't make that many games, and besides Sea of Thieves, they haven't had a big game in quite a while.
Yeah.
Whereas Ubisoft puts out, I'm not saying that their games are bangers, but they certainly sell well.
They do. They put out big, meaty games.
You're right. They really do. I mean, I'm not saying that they're like...
Valhalla was like...
It's huge.
Incredibly intimidatingly meaty.
Dude, I know. It seriously took me almost 100 hours to do the main campaign. And that... I don't understand why it took that long. But the thing is I really honestly liked it. I rated it a 9 out of 10 when I rated it. I mean... Was it too big? Yes. That was its main flaw. If it had been half or a quarter of the time, I would have liked it more. But
yeah, it again, it just played like the old Assassin's Creed games. I need something new.
Yeah. But I think that Skull and Bones has a better chance than I even think at being successful. But I also could see it totally flopping. But if it does flop, it's not like Ubisoft's going to be that hurt because they really rack in the cash.
And they'll be fine.
They'll be fine.
They'll be just fine.
But have you noticed these games that take forever to come out? Every single time. Gamers get they build up this thing in their head. And then it's inevitably not going to meet those crazy high expectations. And it's like the game is like already going to have this negative connotation no matter what.
That's the first game I can think of that did that to me was No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky, I was so hyped for. It was at the height of when I was I wanted the biggest game I could get. Like I wanted the most content I could possibly get. If it was open world, even better, right? So I thought No Man's Sky was going to be like the game to end all games. Mm-hmm. And it just wasn't that great when it dropped. People say it's good now.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
I just haven't gone back and played it.
I'm sure it's good. I'm gonna give it a go one day.
Yeah.
But it's just, I'm so worried about games like
Starfield.
The next Elder Scrolls. No, like Starfield, yes, definitely. But I'm saying like the next Elder Scrolls game, the GTA, the next GTA game. Yeah. These are games that are so
Rockstar delivers though, man.
They're so built up. Well, yeah, in general they do, but they're so built up and they're going to be so hyped that there is no way the expectations from gamers are going to be so high that it's going to be impossible. Mm-hmm. Even if they gave the best game ever, I don't think it could possibly meet the expectations that people have put on it.
Yeah. Now I do think about like Elden Ring. Elden Ring was hyped for quite a while, and people overwhelmingly loved it. So yes. that one seemed to somehow escape.
I think that it was really hyped up, but at the same time, it wasn't hyped up by everyone. Like I didn't have it hyped up.
No, I didn't either. Now it did win most anticipated game 2 years in a row.
Right.
At the Game Awards, so. People were definitely. Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean
That's true.
They wanted
but they also didn't. They didn't have and they probably had an expectation of what it'd be. But what I didn't see was people getting upset that they weren't being given the game that they had dreamed up in their heads, because I'm not sure that people knew what to dream up, because it was a kind of a new thing. So they were kind of more excited about the exploring it and finding out what it was going to be, instead of putting like this. It's going to be this, and it's going to be this, and it's going to be this, and then when it wasn't, they got upset.
I agree, and it being FromSoft, I think all anybody wanted, or I think the extent of the expectations was, I want a big old open world Dark Souls, and that's what you got,
right?
So
right, and they didn't have this big long list of expectations, right?
It was just a broad, give me open world Dark Souls. That's what they did.
Right.
Nobody cared what else was in it.
Sure.
They just wanted it to be cool, and it was.
Right. Well, I mean, like the bigger the game, the more hyped it's going to be, and the harder it could fall, right?
It's like Count Dooku said, man, double the pride, double the fall.
So I'm interested to see how this one goes. I personally don't feel like this game is as hyped as those examples at all.
Yeah.
So I think that because of that, I think even if it doesn't quite deliver, I think there will maybe be an audience of people who enjoy it, if it turns out to be decent at all.
Like I said, I'll play it. Yeah. I'll try it. I'll probably game flat.
Me too. That's exactly my plan, is game flat.
Yeah.
And then if I decide I want it, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
So speaking of GameFly, this week I have been I have the 2 GameFly thing, and both the games that I've been working through this week are GameFly games, and I really want to finish one so I can send one back and get a new one. I'm working on Kirby Triple Deluxe, which is the 3DS game. I think I'm on the last world, and I'm getting towards the end of it. So I might finish that either today or tomorrow. I'm doing that, and I'm still playing Rayman Legends with Catherine, and we are also very close to the end of that.
I want to play that
Dude,
one. You've made me want to play that.
It is so, it's like, it might be my favorite 2D platformer I've ever played. It's phenomenal. Oof. It's phenomenal. I'm trying to think of a 2D platformer that I liked better than that. And I can't think of one. It probably is the best 2D platformer I've ever played.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah,
You played Super Mario World, right?
Of course I played Super Mario World. It's way more like, I can't even explain to you how if I showed you the game, the levels are ranked 1 through 5 stars. Okay. And that's how difficult they are. 5 stars being the hardest and 1 star being the easiest. I could show you a 3-star level and you'd be like, oh my God, that looks insane. It looks so difficult. But it's like one of those things that it is difficult, but it's also just so fluid that it just works. By the time you get to the 5-star where it is genuinely super hard, it is so rewarding, and it just is, it's so good. Man, you would love it.
That sounds like something I would really like.
You would love it.
I love it.
But it's also super fluid, and it's not cheap. You know, like some of those really hard platformers are really hard, but they're also really cheap. Like sometimes you feel like you get undeserved deaths, and or like you have to be so perfect that it's almost not fair.
Yeah.
This isn't that way. it's very hard, but it's also it's fair. It's very fair. It's kind of like what people say about Cuphead, where it's like really hard, but it's if you know what you're doing, it is fair.
Yeah, I actually just got Cuphead on sale.
Oh, cool.
I don't have any plans to start it immediately, but that's something I've wanted to play for a while. I just think it looks so cool. It looks like a freaking Looney Tune. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love watching people play Cuphead. I don't like playing Cuphead because it makes me want to kill myself. Not really. But
you're like, oh crap, we're recording.
Not really.
Yeah,
it's way too hard.
I want to try it. Have you played Tropical Freeze yet?
Me and Catherine were going to play it in co-op, and we got through like the first couple levels, and
it was too hard?
It was, well, I should say that we kept being held back. There was something about the mechanics in the co-op where like one person can hold the other one back, where most...
Oh, really?
I'm trying to remember exactly why. If I remember, I may be wrong about this because it's been months since we played it. But there was something about how, like, because Catherine wasn't doing as well at it, it was holding us back from even making progress. So we decided, you know what, we'll just come back to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is a hard game, but I don't think it's something that I'm gonna play it by myself, basically.
Yeah. Are you guys playing Rayman Legends in co-op?
Yeah.
And it's good.
It's really good in co-op. Yeah, you can play that one up to 4-player co-op. It's really good. But I think it would also be really great just by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you should definitely play Tropical Freeze by yourself because that's a great platformer.
Well, I just bought a physical copy of Rayman Legends, so it'll be coming in, so I can lend it to you if you want to play it.
Perfect. Yeah. Perfect.
I bought a copy just for the collection.
Yeah. PS5?
I got it on. Well, they don't have a PS5 version, but it's a PlayStation 4 disc.
I got you.
Yeah. It's on everything though. Rayman Legends is on Switch, Wii U, Xbox 360, Xbox One. It's like across that whole generation.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what you been playing this week, man?
Well, I've also been playing a GameFly game. Also a Kirby game called Kirby and the Forgotten Land. And
that's the new one.
Yeah. And I put that thing off for a while. And I didn't think I would like it because everybody just says Kirby is like, it's so easy and like, you know, and I just don't like super easy platformers. But I freaking love it. Yeah. It is awesome. And it's not too easy. I mean, it's like
Mario 3D World. If you played that, it's like in the same level of difficulty as that.
It is. It's like, it is very 3D World. I mean, it's Kirby 3D World.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's great. I've played it almost entirely in handheld, and I've had a blast with it.
Dude, it's so much fun.
I'm doing all the like little challenge things in every world.
Dude, those are so much fun too.
Those are super fun. So I'm in the 4th world right now, and there's 6.
Yeah. See, I'm on the 6th world in the Kirby game, and I think that maybe that's a trend of there being 6 worlds in Kirby games.
Yeah.
I may be wrong, but I tend to remember like every Kirby game I've played having 6 worlds, but I may be wrong about that.
And I'll tell you, like, I get like nostalgia from playing Smash while playing Kirby.
Because so much stuff is from.
Yes. Yeah. It's like
well, it's the same.
Just the HAL logo.
Yeah.
Like that hits me. And then like I hear like certain sounds and I'm like, oh, that's where they got it for Smash, you know? And
right. A lot of the items.
Like the Maxim tomato.
Yeah. Like
I didn't realize that came from Kirby.
Oh, have you never played a Kirby game?
Never.
Oh,
this is my first Kirby game.
Oh my God. Dude, you need to play the Kirby games because they are really fun. The only one that I would say is probably a skip that I've played so far is the most recent Switch one before that, the Star Allies.
Star Allies, yeah. You didn't make me think that would be very fun.
It was very... I think every Kirby game I've played except the very beginning ones all have some sort of gimmick. And the gimmick of Star Allies was that you recruited allies as you went through and they helped you, but it made the game so easy because you were having to recruit these people to help you. And it was like you were always playing on easy mode. There's a bunch of Kirby games.
Yeah, so the two, I just Googled them because I want to get the name right. The two I want to play, actually, no, not really that one. Really, Kirby and the Amazing Mirror for Game Boy Advance, people say is really good. I really want to play that one.
What you need to play is the NES Kirby.
Really?
It's so good. It's like the best NES game I've ever played.
What's it called? Just Kirby?
No, it's not just called Kirby. It's
Kirby's Adventure.
Kirby's Adventure, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's on Switch.
It's NES. Yeah. It is so good. You need to try that one. It's very, very fun. Okay. Is that the first Kirby game or the first Kirby game a Game Boy game?
Let's find out.
I think. What is the first
Kirby's Dream Land for the Game Boy?
Okay. So that's actually the second Kirby's game, Kirby's Adventure.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's a Nightmare in Dreamland for Game Boy Advance that I think people also like.
Yes. I played that one back in the day, but I don't remember anything about it.
Did you ever play Crystal Shards on N64? Mm-mm. That one's supposed to be short. It's like 4 or 5 hours long.
Most N64 games are super short, dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Go back and play like Yoshi's Story. That game is so short.
I did play a little Yoshi Story one day at my parents' house.
It's fun, but it's super short. I don't know if a game like Yoshi's Story came out today, people would be rioting.
Yeah. I didn't like Yoshi's Story near as much as Yoshi's Island.
Well, Yoshi's Island is way more fleshed out. Yoshi's Story is like, I don't know, it seemed like it was just phoned in. Like, I feel like they made it in no time. Although when as a kid, I loved Yoshi's Story. I played that game all the time.
I wish I had Yoshi's Island as a kid. I never played that
until
I was older, no.
Oh, man, it's great.
It's such a good game.
Yeah, so good. I loved it. I played it all the time.
Yeah, that game slaps. So, let's see. What else have I been playing? So, Kirby. I've been playing Sea of Thieves, of course. I'm not going to play any Sea of Thieves today, though. I'm completely taking a break from it. I have to detox a little bit.
I don't blame you.
I've been playing. I
got to detox from Sea of Thieves often. I'm at the point now where it's like I've played it so much, I got to like take breaks from it to enjoy it again.
Yeah, I've been noticing that for you. I've been kind of worried about you.
Yeah. It's just like it's starting to get to where like the game has so much replayability, but I think at a certain point, even the replayability starts to feel pretty samey.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still way better than most games. I'll give you that.
I just love the PvP so much.
Oh, it's fun. I love it too.
I just love it.
But the game, it's weird in that there's so much, like you can sit there for 2 hours and you might have 20 good minutes of PvP.
That's true. That's true. And, I mean, and that's another thing I like and dislike about it, because there's so much downtime in the game that you're basically just hanging out with your friends on a pirate ship,
which is cool.
And I enjoy that.
Yeah. But I think we really messed up by not getting into Arena. I think that if we had done Arena, we would have loved it.
I know. I'm so sad that we missed the Arena window.
So for you guys that don't know, Arena was like the PvP focused Sea of Thieves version of the game. You didn't have these adventure things. It was just all about ship battles and all about, sinking other players, which is exactly the way we want to play the game.
Exactly what we do.
I don't know why we never did it. We never did it a single time.
I tried a couple times, but it wouldn't let you play it solo, and it would like throw you in with people you didn't know, and then they would just leave, like, because I probably wasn't even running a mic at the time, and like I was a straight up noob. Like I would have been a huge hindrance to their crew. We would have just got demolished in Arena. But now that we know a little bit, I really wish we could play it.
I know, and it's gone. I've heard rumors that they're thinking about bringing it back.
Well, I mean, I think...
Is that wishful thinking, or is that...
I think that's wishful thinking. I think they're putting... I listen to the Sea of Thieves podcast because I'm sick.
Yeah, that is sick.
And so the developers spend all their time on there talking about, like, results from adventures, what they have planned in the future, what the next season's going to bring. I haven't heard them mention anything about bringing Arena back. I think it's just a super vocal minority. Because it was like 4% of... something crazy. It was like 4% of total play time was spent in Arena.
Yeah.
So why would you spend your development resources towards 4% of your game?
And I understand that it was like super, like everyone was sweaty and
and toxic
and toxic. Yeah. So it was like, I get it. I get that it was an issue for many reasons, but I think that we would have loved it.
Yes, I wouldn't have liked the toxicity, but I'm starting to be a little more at home with some sweat.
I think that the toxic thing is really funny if you can learn to laugh at the people and not let it get to you.
Yeah.
But it's hard not to, because they're awful people, and awful people make you upset.
Yeah. There's some lines that people just cross that I don't like.
Oh yeah.
Once they start getting racist, I'm just like, I know. I hate it.
It just makes my skin crawl.
Yeah.
But
so let's see. I played Sea of Thieves.
You played Sea of Thieves.
And then I've also, in the past few days, gotten into Fall Guys, which apparently was big in 2020. I heard about it, but didn't really care. Now they've put out this new update with way more content, and it's free to play. And it's got
going free to play is like awesome.
Yes, and it's cross progression across everything. So you play it on your Switch, and you're getting progress you can bring to PC. It's like It's super easy.
What kind of progress is there besides just stats?
Oh, that's it. It's like
Isn't there like cosmetics and stuff too?
There's cosmetics. It's like an Epic game thing. So it reminds me of the Fortnite HUD. Like there's a season pass, and you know you're working through the season pass and
But overall, it's just cosmetics.
It's just stats. Cosmetics. Yeah, you don't like get a better player.
Right. You can't. I mean, like
no. I love that. Yeah. That's something I've really started to love in a game.
Yeah, that's one of the things that worries me about Skull and Bones.
Yeah.
I worry that it's not going to be that way at all. But we'll have to see. Yeah. You guys tell us. What do you think about Skull and Bones? Do you think the game will be a success? Are you excited about it? Do you agree with me that maybe gamers have created this thing in their head and it'll never live up to it? I'm convinced that that's the case. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah. I didn't. Did you mention that in the podcast?
No, but I should have.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we snuck it in at the end.
Yeah, just at the very end. But let us know your thoughts, guys. All right. Until next time, I'm Randy.
And I'm Daniel.
And this has been Gaming Gig.
Peace out.